8 p.m. on the dot. Very good evening. You've joined us right here on Business First. I'm Tanya Bharadwaj. Let's take it to our top story this evening. A day after the Supreme Court cancelled all 122 2G licenses issued after January 2008, foreign telecom companies are doing all they can to protect their investments here in the country. In fact, on the other hand, we've got the TRAI that has begun work, a new set of guidelines for auctioning 2G spectrum. For all those developments, we've got ET Now's Mohit Bhalla and Gauri Dwivedi both joining us live from the capital. Mohit, let's begin with you. We know it's been a big blow for most of the new foreign companies. We understand some are exerting pressure through diplomatic channels, while others are really considering legal options. What are the options before all these companies?
At this point in time, really, Tanya, given the fact that this judgment has come from the highest court in the country, the apex court, the Supreme Court, it's obviously going to be difficult to really challenge this decision, and 122 licenses have been cancelled. Obviously, billions of dollars of investments have been impacted because of this. We've seen Telenor, for example, their CEO, John Frederick Baksa, saying today that they might explore the option of exiting India completely, actually referring to this judgment as an attack on their investments in India. So clearly, there's some harsh words coming from there, and obviously, these are people who are fairly disturbed about the nature of this judgment. We've also heard, for example, from Sistema today, and they're clearly saying that they will explore all legal options available to them to actually challenge this judgment. Obviously, there will be some legal recourse, and there could be options that many of these telcos will be exploring with their lawyers at this point in time. But having said that, there's a lot of developments happening on the front of actually executing the Supreme Court decision itself, and it might be even difficult for any of these companies to get any sort of reprieve whatsoever. They're also exploring diplomatic channels, and whether that will work or not is something again that's debatable, given the fact that this is a judgment that's come from a Supreme Court. It's a directive to the government itself to actually execute the decision that the court has announced. So clearly we'll have to wait and watch and see how this kind of diplomatic pressure could have or may or may not have an impact on this at all.
Alright, so of course foreign telcos in a bit of a fix, but they aren't really going to give up just yet. Meanwhile, the telecom regulator, that's the TRAI, is wasting no time. Remember, it has 2 months to formulate new guidelines for auctioning 2G spectrum, and from the looks of it, work has begun, hasn't it, Gauri?
Absolutely, Tanya. In 24 hours, in fact, it has already issued a pre-consultation paper and has sought comments from all stakeholders till the 15th of February. That effectively gives all stakeholders less than 2 weeks to come up with their comments, suggestions. Of course, this will be followed by detailed consultations and an open house session with all stakeholders. But the point really here is that a lot of work needs to be done and a lot of deliberations need to happen, simply because what's at stake? TRAI will recommend who is eligible for that auction that will take place, whether it's going to be the incumbents or the telecom companies that lost their licenses, or some of the other telecom companies which have not yet entered India. Will all those be allowed or not? Eligibility is something that TRAI will decide. Secondly, the floor price that will really that will start the auction is something that TRAI will have to recommend. And let's not forget there is 540 megahertz of spectrum that is available on the table, a lot of it really. So no outrageous bidding is expected to happen. So that floor price is actually going to be very critical to decide what could be the kind of auction proceeds that the government will get out of this auction. But definitely one thing is for sure, this is the swiftest that TRAI has ever acted. In 24 hours of pre-consultation paper, and hopefully in less than 2 months we'll have a final set of recommendations, and compare that to the earlier 2G recommendations which have been in the works for 18 months or 24 months. So clearly TRAI is under a lot of pressure to act at the earliest.
Alright, Mohit Bhalla there, of course, and Gauri Dwivedi both joining us in the capital to really bring us up to speed with everything that's going on as far as really the effects of that Supreme Court verdict are concerned. In fact, it's an all-out war among incumbents as well for the 65 million telecom customers now that are impacted by this crucial verdict. Aggressive push for BNP and of course customized tariff packages could be the mantra for the Big Five as they tap this big opportunity, reports Gauri.
It's just a day after the Supreme Court cancelled 122 telecom licenses, and the scramble for customers has already begun. At stake is a customer base of 65 to 70 million mobile users, and the Big Five, including Airtel and Vodafone, are going all out to win a big chunk of them. Uninor alone has over 36 million users. The CDMA operator Sistema, which is part-owned by the Russian government, has around 15 million subscribers. Seizing the opportunity that yesterday's verdict presents, the nation woke up to a full-page Vodafone ad urging customers to switch to its network, and the fight for customers will only intensify from here. Experts say many telcos may now cut rates and introduce attractive plans to stay ahead in the race.
They're all going to be looking at the higher value consumer. And obviously nobody is going to be willing to lose it. So ultimately what do? You again enter into a price war, a tariff war, or incenting the point of sale and the distribution network.
When number portability was introduced last year, Vodafone was the clear winner. It remains to be seen whether round 2 will also go to the world's largest operator. Gauri Dwivedi, ET Now, New Delhi.